Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. You know, airfare, it's a little bit surreal. This morning, I gave a shir in Ramesh's sister's grandson's shul. Ramesh had a sister that lived in Chicago, Rebbetzin Small. So this morning I gave a shir in Rabbi Small's shul. Last night I gave a shir in our Chaver Adaf, our Zoomer Marshall Castle's house. That's where I broadcasted from last night in Chicago. And here I am back in shul. It's really incredible. What was inconceivable just a short time ago. You know, it says that Talmidei Chachamim were mekasesin ragleihem l'shmaya divrei Torah. They used to travel to hear Torah from different rebbeim, and they would travel for months, mekasesin ragleihem, cutting the soles of their feet in travel. And what we could do now in a few hours, it's remarkable. It's good to see everybody. We learn Li'ili Nishmas Shlomo ben Moshe, Elimelech ben Eliezer, Fu Shalem Efrelio Moshe ben Chayesarov, Schus of Avraham Yom Benish ben Malchudis and family. The Fisher family, Li'ili Nishmas Basi Bas Rabbi, Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Peril Bas Ruvain, Yo Klugman and family, and Lefu Shalem for Meir ben Chayesara. So we continue our journey in Masechtas Nazir, and we are holding with Mishnah Ches and Mishnah Tes. Ches and Tes. So if a person says, continuing the theme of yesterday's Mishnah, if a person says, let's say, Chatzkel says, Hareini nazir l'kishiyah li ben, so hipila ishtai, if his wife has a miscarriage, ain't a nazir. The Tanna Kama says that he's not a nazir. Now, the Tanna Kama, although if it was a viable child and then it died, my mother had a sister, Alei Shalom, that had a child, and it caught meningitis in the hospital and died at 6 days old. But it was a completely viable child. So that would be, then the person would be a nazir. But here we don't know if it was a Vlad Shel Kayama, if it was a viable child. So the Tanna Kama holds that when a person accepts Naziris, he only accepts a Naziris of certainty. He doesn't accept a Naziris whose nature is one of doubt. Reb Shimon, on the other hand, says, no, he has to cover all bases. What he has to do is he has to keep a Naziris of 30 days, and he says a Tanai. He says, if it was a viable child, then I'm a Nazir Chayva. If it wasn't a viable child, then this is a new dedication of Naziris. I'm a Nazir Nadava. So Reb Shimon Aimer, Yaimer im hoya ben kayama, if I was a viable child, then Harayani Nazir Chayva. V'im lav, but if it wasn't a viable child, then this is a new dedication. Harayani Nazir Nadava. Now, the thing is, though, if his wife has another baby, so Chaz of Yolda, according to Reb Shimon, the suffix isn't over yet. Because if the last one wasn't a viable child, so then this is his child, and he has to do another naziris. So therefore, chazra v'yolda, if she gives birth again, so according to the Chachamim, who say that the first one wasn't a naziris, so now Harry's a nazir. Reb Shimon says, then Yomer, he again stipulates, Im Arishin ben Kayama, if the first child was viable, so that was the fulfillment of my vow, then Arishin Chayva, the Zunadava. And now this is a new Naziris that I'm volunteering. V'im Lav, but if the first one wasn't viable, so then the first one, Harishin, was Nadava, the Zu, and this one is a Chayva, this one is the fulfillment of my original vow when I have a child. Now, Hareini Nazir, here, Yaakov Warman is in an interesting mood, and he says, Hareini Nazir, I'm a Nazir, and v'Nazir kishiyah li ben. And I'm a Nazir also when I have a child. So first he says, Hareini Nazir, that's Tamazai, right? He's pledging himself a Naziris. And he says, v'Nazir kishiyah li ben. I'll also be a Nazir when I have a child. So Hischel my Neshalai, he starts to count his Naziris. If afterwards he has a son, he doesn't have to stop his original Naziris, because he said first I'm going to be a regular Nazir. So Mashlam Eshalai, he finishes his Naziris, he brings his 3 Karbanas, and then then he counts another Naziris, because Baruch Hashem he had a Mazel Tov. Well, what if he did it the other way around? He said, Areini Nazir kishiyah li ben. First he accepts upon himself Naziris if he has a son. And then he says, Nazir, and I also want to accept an independent Naziris. So, Hiskal my Neshlai, so far nothing's happening. So he counts his Naziris. The Achakach Nailulai Ben, if in the middle of his Naziris, he has a son. So since he said the commitment to be a Nazir for his son first, Maniach Eshalai, he puts aside his Naziris, Umayna Eshel B'nai, he counts his Naziris of 30 days for his son, he counts his Naziris of 30 days for his son, because he said that one first. He then shaves, brings his 3 Karbanas. Now, the original Naziris, if he counted already 13 days, so really he should own only another 17 days. But he can't do that, because you're not allowed to shave unless you have a hair's growth of 30 days, as we're going to learn in the next Mishnah. So then he finishes his own Naziris. Now, if his own Naziris, he said that he's keeping 47 days, you could keep a long Naziris, so then he could count his original 17 days and do another 30. But if he just said Areini Nazir Stam, which is 30 days, he can't now just count another 13 days, even though he already counted 17 days. Because you can't shave in your Naziris with a growth of your head of less than 30 days. So he's going to have to count another 30 days and then shave and fulfill both requirements. You have to watch which order you say the Naziris. Rabbi say tonight we have the Daf at 8, followed by the Haggadah Shir afterwards. There will be a Haggadah Shir on Shabbos at 5:30 for men and women, like we've been having with great success. Again, the women's Tillim group will be here in the shul at 4:45. I'll have a few minutes after Tillim to do Mechiras Chametz, if anybody wants to do so before the Daf. Otherwise, a very good time, as you'll see on the schedule, to do the Mechiras Chametz is this Motzei Shabbos. I'll be available right after Shabbos until 9:45 when I start the Daf. Also, next week I made the Daf a little bit later, at 8:15, so that I'll have more time after Mariv to accommodate. And on Sunday, I will come down here earlier before Mincha to accommodate as well. And if you need any other time, you could call me. Reb Chanani ben Akash Amar Ratzon Kadosh Baruch Hu